Testing, 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 testing. All right, we'll just wait for some people to come on and then we'll get started. All right, everybody, welcome to CanHammer TV. It is January 3rd, 2019, and this was supposed to be a episode of the CanHammer podcast, but Chris had to bail at the last minute, so we've transitioned it into an episode of CanHammer TV. Just me, so not quite as exciting, but hopefully exciting enough. So not too long a show today, but definitely have some important things to do and announce. And of course, our New Year's giveaway is going to go ahead as planned. So that's kind of the program for tonight. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Welcome to 2019. I hope everybody had a good 2018. We didn't really do a look back at 2018 type show because personally I'd rather look forward than look back, but it was a pretty good year for 40K, AOS, for the game in general. The community grew a lot last year, and CanHammer has grown, and we've made big steps and continued to try new things and hopefully give you guys good content. So thank you for sticking with us. I hope everybody had a good holiday, or had a holiday, hopefully. I managed to not be on call this weekend, which was great. Had a good couple of weeks off, no work, and surprisingly got a lot of hobby done, which is funny because my kid, on days when my kid doesn't have school, I get more hobby done. Anyway, I managed to paint... I'm almost finished another 30 Grimghast Reapers, 4 Night Hunt Leaders, and decently on my way through Archon. If you've ever painted one of those Mortarks, you'll know how painful it is to paint the bone on those models, but slowly getting there, so that's taking some time. I want to finish my Night Hunt ASAP, because then my next project will be Sylvaneth. A cool themed Sylvaneth army, so that's the plan. So anyway, got a lot of hobby done over the holidays, revigorated my hobby juices, and so that's looking up. Other people had things that they did over the holiday posted up in chat. Let me hear what you've been up to, and hopefully everybody's got some good hobby time over the holidays. Let me know if you got any good gaming related Christmas gifts. I got zero gifts, not zero gaming related gifts, 0 gifts. We don't really buy each other presents, but let me know if you got anything cool for Christmas. I know there's a bunch of people posted that they got the battle boxes to start new armies. Lots of people like to start a new army in the new year, it's pretty exciting to get that kick-started with one of those starter boxes. Those tend to be pretty good deals too, in terms of value for models, so it's pretty good. Before we go much further, I want to thank our sponsors, our channel sponsors. We have Dan at Sequence Comics. We have Dylan at Multizone, Martin over at Dyson Decks, and Hoyt up at Thunder Games and Gifts in Thunder Bay. And of course, he is the sponsor for today's giveaway. Brand new copy of Chapter Approved 2018. We'll be giving this away shortly, and that's courtesy of Hoyt up at Thunder Games and Gifts. Do check him out. He does a mail delivery and has pretty good deals. So if you're looking to buy some purchases, you don't mind waiting a little bit for Canada Post, then Hoyt is definitely somebody you can pick. And he's promised to give us something to give away every month. So hopefully we'll be giving something away at the top of every month to one lucky follower. So I want to thank everybody who follows and subscribes to us here on Twitch. Your support makes this worth doing, because if you're just talking to yourself all the time, it gets kind of boring. So certainly the last episode we did of the podcast where we had good interaction with people in the chat, that was great, and now we get lots of chatting in our live streams and stuff, so it makes it that much more interactive. You know, it only gets so fun when you're just talking to yourself on video all the time, so it's nice to have that live interaction. I want to thank some new patrons that have signed up. We have Trevor B signed up recently to be a patron, so thank you very much, Trevor. And we have Martin Summerton, who's one of our long-term patrons. He is one of our first Primarch level patrons, so thank you very much, Martin. So what we did last week was we just altered the support levels on Patreon, and the reasoning for that was that we discovered that in fact we were giving away a lot more stuff than we were getting in return. And it wasn't a viable long-term solution. So what we did, we just added a 5th tier and rationalized some of our rewards a bit better. And so now the top tier is Primarch, and that's where you get the free entry to events, and that includes events like Capital City Bloodbath. So it's a pretty good value there. So just a note to patrons who might be watching, if you were already signed up before I changed all the tiers, you are grandfathered at your current rewards levels for 3 months, so don't have to worry too much about that. Naughty Devil, good evening. No hobby time, sadly. Watching from Norway. Hobby projects and the handle and care of luggage don't necessarily go well together. Yes, we should have an episode on that, how to travel. I have to make travel plans to Adepticon this March. That'll be my first time flying with hobby things, so if people have hot tips, welcome to hear that. Strazius, working on painting a buddy's knight for Barry Bash. Okay, well, yeah, the knight meta has not died. Probably because nothing happened to knights in Chapter Approved. So at least till March, probably knight meta is still a thing. Admiral Redis, hello. Welcome. So for those joining us late, CanHammer podcast not happening tonight because Chris could not make it at the last minute. So we're just doing an informal CanHammer TV, but we will be giving away our Chapter Approved giveaway as promised. All right, so let's move along here. Just to keep people up to date about tournaments. So there's a lot of activity. The first thing we have is we're sending a CanHammer team up to Sudbury next weekend to do the Basement Collective Team Tournament. Boom, CanHammer sending team. We hopefully will do well, and so you'll get a report on that the following week, which would be cool. There's a couple of tournaments this weekend in Toronto. If you're in that area, there's a 40K one and an AOS one, so do check those out. And Admiral Radis, this is the giveaway. I'll be doing it shortly. The 48-hour, yeah, I'm coming to that, so just hang on for a few moments. And Smithers, you're working on my Tau tonight, so I've painted models for P&P. Nice. So I'm coming to that. So P&P is February 9th. But before I get to that, the charity, Hammer and Anvil charity tournament run by ourselves and Anvil of War Gaming is January 19th. It is currently sold out and taking a wait list, but we may have capacity to expand at the last minute if people are very interested in supporting charity and come and play some fun 40Ks. That's on January 19th. So do look that up, Hammer and Anvil. I like that name. Owen was just here last night playing a game, Death Guard against Raven Wing, which is a great game if you caught that. And that will be, of course, uploaded as a battle report probably in a couple of weeks. And that one too, Painted Town for Hammer and Anvil. Yep, cool. So after that is going to be P&P 12, which is February 9th. And that's hosted by Sequence. And that's another sort of 20 to 25 man 40K tournament. And that has two or three more spots left, and a wait list, of course. So if you haven't signed up for that and you're interested in playing in the next P&P, then do sign up. You will be able to win that trophy there, have your name on it next to Zach's. Could it be 2 tower players in a row? Zach might repeat. Who knows? Right there. The Power Fist. Admiral Radius, yes, we run Capital City Bloodbath. So that's P&P, and then after that, the next big tournament for us is, of course, CanHammer Team Tournament. That's May 11th to the 12th weekend in Ajax near Toronto. We moved it a little bit to the east this year for many reasons, and it will be hopefully up to 140 people. So that's 28 teams this year, teams of 5. So the registration for that will open on February 6th at 8 p.m. Sharp. Now, for people who don't know, you may be wondering why we're opening it, telling you it's at 8 p.m. because generally it sells out fast. Last year at 100 people, we sold out in 9 minutes. You got to get your money in, get your team registered, or else first come, first serve. So get your teams ready, 5-man ETC format team tournament. At the moment, it's $100, so it's $500 a team. You get 2 meals with that. Great play experience, great terrain, and a fantastic event. So do come for CanHammer Team Tournament if you are interested and get your team together soon. So that's February 6th sign up for CanHammer Team, which is May 11th and 12th. We've had some people let us know, of course, obviously that's Mother's Day weekend. Unfortunately, guys, the calendar these days is so full. The venues are all super booked up around that time for weddings and things like that. That's the best we could do without stepping on other tournaments' toes. And there's a long weekend right after that. You can treat your mom to a nice long weekend at a spa or something. So I'm sure they'll trade that up one arbitrary day for another. So May 11th, May 12th. And then, of course, Capital City Bloodbath Advanced Planning, August 16th, 17th, and 18th, a 3-day event. What's happening on the Friday, we are unsure. If people have ideas of what they'd like us to do on the Friday, please let us know. We're throwing around things like another doubles tournament for AOS and 40K, possibly running the 40K champs as a 3-round, and then a championship round on the Sunday, so like a 3-day event. We had a lot, when we didn't do Friday last year, lots of people told us they wanted Friday back. So that's under consideration, and we have that time booked if we need it. So August 16th, 17th, 18th, Capital City Bloodbath. Registrations will probably open after, shortly, right before or after CanHammer Team Tournament. So that's Capital City Bloodbath. The AZOS tournament in Toronto this weekend. I believe there is Tonic WoW, and you'll just check around Facebook. I can't remember what it's called. Snoot DeVille, what's up? And Year of Shorty. I've got the team together. Morty and the Salt Licks. Haha, nice. Morty and Salt Licks. I believe, though, Year of Shorty, that you may be short Tim, who's probably playing on one of the ETC teams this year. So for people who are not aware, CanHammer Team, of course, was formed in order to provide Team Canada ETC practice. So this year, since Chris, who's the captain, and Scary, who's the co-captain, have decided to try and improve our performance at ETC this year. So we're taking ETC practice seriously at CanHammer Team, and there will be 2 teams that are basically Team Canada prospects being coached and trying to do well. And so I believe Tim is one of those prospects, so he might not be on Morty and the Salt Licks last year. We played you guys last year, and I lost bad to Tim. I remember that game. Not Team Salty. Okay. Oh, Team Salty. Morty and the Salt Licks. Totally confused the 2. Yeah. Okay. I have my Team Salty dice somewhere over there. Cool. So, yeah, it's a great event. Lots of teams. And there's maybe 3 or 4 teams are really going for it. and then a bunch of teams just there to have a great time and things like that. So it's a really cool event. You get like points for like, you know, making fun of people and giving little trinkets. And last year we put Chris's caricature face on all our objective markers and stuff. So, you know, it gets to be pretty fun. I won't get to play this year, unfortunately, because I'll be running it, but it's still pretty fun. I was the Blood Angels player. Yeah, Moot Green's trying to get a second thin coat, a second team for CHCT. Wow, Moot Green expanding. I would actually like a bottle of Moot Green paint this year if you guys can swing that, because I'm out of Moot Green, and it's a nice color for highlighting Night Haunt green color. So see if you guys can make that happen. All right, already some hype for CanHammer team, which is great. And that's kind of the full tournament scene that we will be running. It seems probably just to be too much to run something in the fall time, so we'll see. Since we're running more P&Ps that are getting bigger as well. So, okay, yeah, don't worry, Admiral, it's coming. Just have to hang on for a little bit longer. Hobby goals. Post below your hobby goals for 2019. Hobby goals, gaming goals. What do you want to accomplish in the game? What do you want to accomplish in your hobby? Let me know what you want to do. My hobby goal is to get better at airbrushing. I think, I tell you what, hot tip. If you airbrush and you don't use flow improver, you're missing out. Because once I started using flow improver, my airbrushing is shot up like 200%. It's faster, it's more efficient, I use less paint, it dries less, easier to clean, goes on smoother. Oh, it's like the bomb. Like every 10 drops, put like 1 or 2 drops of that flow improver in there, mix it around in your pot. It's like, oh, it's so good. I can't remember who gave me that tip. Yeah, it's like every 10 seconds I had to clean the tip dry, and oh, it was yeah. So flow improver, hot tip, use it. It's really great. So I want to get better at airbrushing, blending a little bit better, getting the hang of kind of pre-shading, pre-shadowing, that sort of thing, and maybe trying to do some detail with airbrush, because right now I do fairly general kind of base coating and stuff like that. So I want to do that for hobby. Want to finish these Night Haunts finally and do my Sylvaneth army in time for June, when there's a AOS team tournament run by John Green. So that's kind of the hobby goal for AOS. So that's kind of my hobby goals. Admiral Radis wants to paint his Tau and actually play some games of AOS Kill Team and 40K. Yes, sir. So you don't have to be fully painted to play. So make sure you get some games on. But for sure, finishing armies is a great feeling when you actually finish an army. Unfortunately, a lot of times that unpainted plastic just builds up behind you. But it's a great feeling to actually finish an army and say that's done and done. Speaking of finished armies, my Dark Angels have been packed into a box until such time at which they can actually be fun to play again. Last night's game was fun, but I don't think it's revived it for me. Hitting on 3s is just not as good as hitting on 2s, I'm afraid. So there's speaking of finished armies. So that's the hobby goals for this year. I have to be careful I don't end up buying too many AOS armies. All the armies are just so sweet. I want to do the Grots, but oh god, there's going to be a lot of models. I want to do those Beasts of Chaos, but it's so hard to just bringing out good stuff all the time. So it's going to be hard to do that. Strazius, hobby goal is to bump up my ITC score this year and have less gray NIDs. That's a good goal. Less gray is always good. Naughty Deville 2019 goal is to play on a final top table of a GT or bigger tournament with Necrons. Well, that's a lofty goal. That would be cool. Necrons should be getting something in Villages Part 2, but who knows when that's going to be. They kind of need a redesign. But yeah, for sure, I think if you have a good Necron list and you play it well, you can definitely end up top table at B&P. Maybe Capital City you do well by then. Who knows? You just keep playing it, man. I tell you, if you're a good player at a crappy list, you're going to do better than a crappy player with a really good list. So, especially if you're good at the mission format. So, You can definitely do that. C Farsight finished painting my Tau, and NH Nighthaunt, I guess, finished collecting Death Guard and Gloomspite Gits. Okay, well, that battle tone is about to hit. I really love in that little moon mechanic that comes in from the corner. I think that's really cool. So that would be fun to see that book. And Smithers, mine would be average above the 50% in all my tournaments I played this year, and actually have a finished painted army. That's good. Naughty Devil went 5th at last GT in November. That's excellent. So you already accomplished your goal. What are you talking about? Oh, you want top table. Okay. I get it. Cool. These are all great goals, guys. My gaming goal this year, unfortunately, as I get more involved into running tournaments, and I do love running tournaments, I don't get to play in them, and it's hard to travel. So my goal, I am going to Adepticon. My goal is to take my Custodes as high as possible in Adepticon. Who knows where that's going to be? Probably not that high. I'm aiming like top 50 or top 25 to 50, somewhere in there would be good for me. But that's one of my gaming goals, is to take Custodes to Adepticon and do well with it. My other is to run a good CanHammer team in Capital City. That's actually a gaming goal of mine, to run good tournaments so people enjoy themselves and want to come back and have these events grow. So that's one of my gaming goals. And I guess kind of gaming goal is this. So I want CanHammer TV to grow. I want people watching and enjoying the content, live stream games, as well as podcast episodes and these CanHammer TV episodes. We're going to try and see if we can start getting some commentators into some of our live streams. So, keep trying to push the content ahead there. So that's one of my third goal for 2019. So let's go to what everybody, or maybe just Admiral Radis, has been waiting for. So before we do that, Straight just asked, what kind of changes to your Custodes list did you make? So I haven't made any right now. My next tournament is going to be the team tournament in Sudbury. So for ETC format, my existing list is probably still good biker spam with guard, and that allows me to play ETC missions quite well, and I can get matchups more dictated in the team format. So haven't changed it for that. I'm trialing a list right now that's more foot, to try and go pure Custodes. That drops the guard and runs a foot battalion, and one of the guardian units is 9-man, and then 10 bikes, and trying to get that Valoris in, man, at 185, 165, 185, 185. He's just on the cusp of being awesome. So that's my what I'm going to be trialing, and we'll see if that's going to be any good. So Admiral Radish, if you're going to run out of batteries, we'll accept your entry, but you got to put down here before you run out of batteries what your hobby goals are. Okay. So yeah, so I'll be working on that Custodes list, and you'll start seeing it on live streams soon. So maybe as early as next week. Next week I got a game against Peyton again and Orcs, and he's either going to play Custodes or Drukari, so it'll be one of those two armies. All right, so let's do the giveaway. First of all, we are giving away Chapter Approved 2018 new copy. Received just last week from Hoyt at Thunder Games and Gifts. So he's one of our channel sponsors. Do check him out, Thunder Games and Gifts. You're going to start seeing his splashes and stuff on our videos and stuff. So do check him out. He gives good discounts, does a lot of mail order. You don't have to drive up to Thunder Bay. And he's been a big sponsor and a Patreon of the channel. So thank you, Hoyt at Thunder Games and Gifts. He is actually going to give us something to give away every month, so that'll be good. Naughty Devil, what's the one thing you fear as Custodes? T8, mass bodies, or vehicle spam? I definitely don't fear mass bodies. Mass bodies tend to be weak to hurricane bolters, and I have 200 of those things a turn, so I don't fear mass bodies. In fact, that's what I match up well against. T8 is tough, so a Nurgle army I find hard to kill, but they tend to not hit very hard either. Vehicles are okay if I get charges, so because re-rolling wounds is fine on that. So yeah, psychics. So Ynnari, psychics, Eldar, psychic shenanigans. Smite spam, if you're not careful, can really wreck you. Infernal gateway, stuff like that. And knights. Knights are hard to kill, and they kill custodians very well. And everybody fears Drukhari because Drukhari is just good. So those are the things I fear the most as Custodes player. Okay, back to giveaway. So right now, if you're in the Twitch, there's 13 people currently on Twitch, and there may be other people watching on other platforms. You need to be on Twitch. You need to be a follower. So do follow us. You don't have to subscribe because that costs money for whatever reason. You just need to be a follower of our channel, and you have to put down your hobby goals for 2019. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to put those down if you haven't done already. And then we will give this away to a random person who's watching us right now. This is when I forgot to put the Jeopardy theme music going. Not really sure how to do that on Twitch. So see, we already have Admiral Radis hobby goals because he's probably going to run out of batteries. We've already been talking C Farsight and Smithers, Strasius, Naughty Devil, and Snoop DeVille. If you're still watching, you got to let us know your hobby goals. Year of Shorty, Tonic WoW hobby goals are to finish Malign Sorcery and the last 3,000 points of my Stormcast army. Wow. I won't ask you how many points you have in total. Probably a lot. If 3,000 points is finish. And if you mean finish Malign Sorcery as in paint all the endless spells, that's a decent goal. My box of endless spells is still colored plastic, mostly, except for this portal. So, yeah. So I want to show you guys something while we're waiting here. So I'm so despondent with Dark Angels that I've done this. I don't know if anybody recognizes this bit, but this is Samael's cape from the Corvex model. Cut off. He's been dethroned. And the Dark Angel symbol has been scraped off. You can just see the outline of it there. I need to do a little bit better scraping it off, so it's been scraped off. And that is going onto here. Shield Captain. Boom. So I find it hard to tell my shield captains apart from normal bikers, so that's one reason for doing this. Secondly, the painting rubric for the team tournament does give points for conversions. Boom, boom, conversions. And then also when I repaint this, I can try my hand at a little bit of freehand, and that's going to give me an extra point for freehand. So it's kind of hard to freehand Custodes bikers otherwise. They don't have transfers or decals or anything, so that's going to get me a couple of points extra on the rubric. So hot tip, if you're trying to win overall in tournaments with painting rubrics, do paint to the rubric. All right. Naughty Devil, hobby goals, paint up Imhotep, the Stormlord, in a Thanos-like theme. He has the glove for it. Okay, sounds pretty cool. Going a bit laggy here. Seems to have resolved. Okay. JV Chaotic, working on painting my Iron Jaws for Adepticon. Currently have 1,000 points painted. Very nice. Iron Jaws, depending on mission format, can be surprisingly good. Guinevere Jane, welcome. Finally chose a 40k army. Have at least 2,000 points painted by next New Year's. Which army did you choose, Guinevere Jane? And N. Smithers, what's the difference between kit bash and a conversion? Well, there's no technical definition for this tournament. This counts as a mini conversion. So I don't know. I guess if you're just moving bits around, then it's more of a bash. If you have to like make your bit by cutting it off and sculpting it, maybe that's more of a conversion. I don't know. Tonic WoW, I've got 6 spells down to go: Gravetide, Portals, Palisade, Cogs, Quicksilver Swords, and Shackles. Matthew, 7 days. Hobby goals 2019, paint up a couple of 1,000 points of Tyranids. Boom. You might want to wait for the Gene Stealer Codex first. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I can't get it out because it's under a bunch of other boxes, but I have 120 Gene Stealers, of course, from last year that I bashed out in about a week, and they might be making a reappearance when that Codex comes out. I don't know if I'll need 120, but just in case, I have 120. So I actually had like 150, but I got rid of 30 of them. Don't ask me why I had so many Gene Stealers. Okay, cool. Let's give it a few more minutes. We're getting more people signing on for the giveaway. So do follow. If we pick your name and you're not a follower, you're going to have to go to the next person. So do follow and post your hobby goals for 2019 in the chat. And we will definitely be giving this away in the next few minutes. So yeah, it's really frustrating because some of these rubrics call for freehand, and you know there's not really much place to put freehand on this bike. The shoulder pads are all covered, so you know squad markings is kind of difficult, and you know, so, and you know, just painting, like if you paint the canopy different color, that's not really like a squad marking. So I painted his hair white. The other guys have brown hair. There you go. But that was hard to see. So I decided to butcher Samael because Corvex kind of sucks now. Sableclaw is the in thing, and use his cape for my shield captain. Sorry, Sammy. And I'm going to take the head off and the sword arm and put it on a speeder. And now I got Corvex. Woohoo! Choose, not chose, still flip-flopping all over the place. Well, Guinevere, Jane, if you need help choosing an army, just let us know. Happy to help you with such decisions. You know, people pick armies for many reasons. Some people pick for competitive spirit. Some people pick from models, just they like the look of the models. And some people pick based on price or availability. And and some people pick based on playstyle. So if you need help picking, just message us up on Facebook. We can definitely give you a hand. GW needs to sell the Aberrance box separate from Tooth and Claw. Yes, I'm sure that's going to be coming out when the Codex comes out. I'm pretty sure that's going to come out, as well as a separate, I don't know if you can buy it already, the dude with the stop sign or the big hammer. Those guys are kind of all the rage right now. They also need to decide what size base to put Gene Stealers on. I guess we'll find out, and hopefully it'll be the same size that they go on for Tyranids. Otherwise, that's going to be another pain in the butt. But some of those models look pretty sick. I might have to do that army just because I like the look of it. So, quite literally, I've been doing AOS armies based purely on how cool the models are. So that's definitely a valid method of picking an army. And then most of the armies are very well fleshed out, so you can eventually, you know, change which units you use and end up collecting a whole bunch of stuff. As you can see in the shelves behind me, I have a whole bunch of stuff. Too much stuff. All right, let's give it a few more minutes. Everyone get their hobby goals in, follow us, and we're going to give this baby away very soon. Boom. Force the Narrative has a recent podcast where they discuss what to look for when deciding to get into the hobby and pick an army. Yeah, there's lots of good resources out there on how to do that. And Naughty Devil, Guinevere, Jane, recommend going to your local game store, find out if there's a local Facebook page, let people know what armies you're considering. You'd be surprised how many people will let you borrow and play a game with them. For sure. If you want to play a game with any armies that I got, you can just come over and play a game. No problem. Teach you how to play. Taught lots of people how to play. You can use my models, whatever you want. You know. Yep. So that's no problem. That's a great recommendation, Naughty Devil. Good one. I just got your name, Naughty Devil. I'm a smart guy. So yeah, there's a I don't know where you live, Guinevere Jane, but if you're in Ottawa, of course, all those offers stand. If you're not in Ottawa, well, sorry, doesn't help you, but we can still give you advice remotely. Mountain J wants to finish painting all of his Death Guard and Nurgle armies. Yes, Nurgle. There's a lot of Nurgle in Ottawa, that's for sure. Nurgle, Death Guard. Always fun to play Nurgle. So next week coming up on the stream, we have a live stream. I think it's Tuesday against Peyton. He's playing his Orc army again with the Ludas, and it's going to be either Drukhari or Custodes will be his opponents. He's of course practicing for the Canadian Shield tournament in a few weeks. And then we'll have a podcast episode next week, probably looking at Battle Tome, the Gits Battle Tome. And then the week after that, actually have a game, AOS game between Francois and his Gits. He has mostly a complete Gits army already, just waiting for the book. So Francois is going to bring his Gits to the channel live against Phil, who's going to be playing his 3 Great Unclean One list. So that should be a good matchup, and that's in a couple of weeks. Devil is Slanesh. Okay, Maddie X8469. Hobby goals for 2019. Finish AdMech army. AdMech seems to be all the rage right now. Also participate in a local tournament, Capital City Bloodbath. Yes, sir. Do participate in CCBB. Play more games with my local players. Yes, do play more games. And JV Kodak, fairly new to AOS. You mentioned Iron Jaws being scenario dependent, which would be good and bad. Well, it depends on how people run their missions, whether they're using the realm rules and things like that. Generally, Iron Jaws just kind of want to go forward. If you would look back on the last AOS game on the channel, is me playing Deepkin against Jason, who's playing Iron Jaws, and they just struggled to hold the objectives, and I took 2 of them off them, burned them, and so that scenario is bad for Iron Jaws, because really what they want to do is just to go forward and attack things. And so especially if you hit an army where they can't really kill that much stuff or pulls in from different corners, then it starts to struggle with that. So that's one issue with Iron Jaws. They need to get a book or something soon. Strasius, lots of bat reps to look forward to. Can't wait. Yes, I'm trying to do at least 1 a week. I don't know if I have time to do 2 a week, but we're trying to do at least 1 game a week. I'm trying to keep the AOS peppered in there. It's kind of hard to find AOS players for whatever reason, but hopefully this Gits book is going to ignite some interest in AOS locally. Guinevere Jam, I'm in London, but I'll think a bit more than hit you guys up on advice for Facebook. I have a pretty good handle on the hobby, but not a ton of 40k experience. Awesome. London, Ontario, or London, England? It would be 2 a.m. in London, England, so probably Ontario. Cool. Okay. Maddie X, enjoy your content. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to give it 1 more minute, counting down, and then we're going to give this baby away. So get your hobby goals in, follow us on the channel, and we'll give this sucker away. Let me load up my random.org. Let's make AOS Ontario great again 2019. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, John Green, who used to run CanHammer Team, doesn't really play 40k though, is big in AOS. He is running the AOS equivalent of CanHammer Team tournament. I think it's going to be in June. So just look for that on Facebook, or hit up John Green and just message him. So that is going to be an AOS team tournament, which was highly requested after the last 2 CanHammer Team tournaments for AOS. So that's going to be a nice big event, fun team event. So people should, if they're into AOS, we've got to support all the AOS events. We got to grow the AOS side a little bit. All right, random.org. So currently we have 15 people watching on the channel. Maddie Eck, AOS intrigues you, love the models, no idea how to play. Super easy to play, man. Just pop over, we'll play some AOS. Super easy. So we're going to random.org a number between 1 and 15. And ready, go. The number is 6. So I'm going to count down on the followers list that is just listed from the top to the bottom of the page on Twitch. 6 people to the sixth person who's online right now will win. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I just updated it because a lot of you guys just followed, obviously. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the winner is N Smithers 31. N Smithers 31. You're the winner of this copy of Chapter Approved 2018, courtesy of Hoyt from Thunder Games and Gifts. Congratulations. And thank you for following us on Twitch. Yeah, so event available for Guinevere Jane. It's up there, at least the dates and things like that, and the venue. So do check it out. Grats to N Smithers and on that chapter approved. So thanks very much, guys. You could get it at P&P. I won't be at the next P&P because I'm away that weekend. I can definitely try and get it to Chris probably in 2 weekends, and then he can give it to someone. Or N Smithers, if you're in Ottawa somewhere, you know, we could dead drop it or meet up somewhere or come for a game, and we can do that. So that's definitely doable. Okay, so anybody have any questions? Events coming up, hobby goals, questions about the game? We've got a little bit of time here, and then we'll probably wrap up. So if people got questions, let us know. There will be another giveaway for February. So basically, Hoyt's just sending me a copy of every book that gets released, and so whatever book will be in and around the time of month, usually I'll have 2 copies, so I'll just give one away. And so if you have a book you really, really want, but you're not in a super rush, then do hold out for the giveaway. You might win. As you say, it's a pretty decent chance. There's only 15, 16 people watching, so it's a decent chance of of winning something. And Smithers, give it to Chris. That's an easy one. I'd love to come for a game in a bit once I have my army base coated. Yeah. We're not super strict on painting requirement, but we don't like gray plastic, that's for sure. New Moon Grots definitely looks sick. I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting the book, although I think I'm going to have to resist the army because it's just going to be like 200 grots, and I just can't do that. But it looks really good. If the Trogoth army is viable, like 15 model army, then I'm in on that one. A Trogoth army. I'll get the Hag from Forge World. That's cool. So if you guys watch Honest Wargamer, Rob from Honest Wargamer, he's going to send a prize to the first person who hobbies and converts up a troll king and a troll hag in a tux and a wedding dress. So that's definitely a hobby goal 2019. What was the reasoning behind playing no Dark Shroud yesterday? Was it because of facing Death Guard specifically? No. There's specifically for yesterday, I made a list for 2,000 and then 2,000 points, and I forgot that the tournament he was practicing for was 1750. So at the last minute, I had to cut 250 points, and so the Dark Shroud went. But I've not found the Dark Shroud that good. It's a easy first strike and kill point, sort of kill one giveaway. It's not hard to kill even with the -1 in today's shooting meta. So I've not been super impressed with it. I'll grant you, I've not been playing a lot with Dark Angels recently, and certainly haven't played with them against some of the crazy meta lists going on these days. But I suspect, and it's still 140 points or something like that. So, so not super impressed by it. Mostly yesterday though, I had to drop 250 points, so I dropped a Dev Squad and a Dark Shroud. and 1 Dark Talon, and stuff like that. So to get it down to 1750. So that was an exciting game yesterday. You can tell I haven't played Dark Angels for so long. I forgot literally everything that makes Ravenwing good. So advancing to get the 4-up invo, forgot that every single turn. I forgot to use all my Vigilist stratagems except for one time. I forgot to shoot at something with this Hurricane Bolter so I can get 1 wound, then I can use the +1 to hit so I can overcharge safely. I lost like 4 bikes due to overcharge. I screwed up a lot of stuff yesterday, and probably Dark Angels players online were like shouting at me. I forgot Inner Circle. Yeah, I haven't played for a long time, but still managed to pull out a 2-point victory, so that was okay. Strazius, thank you for the list advice. Gave a few podcasts ago, giving a demon suggestion shot so far. Cool. Yeah, thank you very much for sending that in. If you want to send us lists, we'll try and get around to them, or just give you help, offline. But certainly, we try and accumulate the list and do a list review episode every once in a while. So definitely do that. And if we can't help you with your particular list, we'll find someone who can, because we know people. Naughty Devil, what's your preference, ETC versus ITC? I prefer ITC, but I think ETC is harder. There's more randomness due to cards, obviously, but for some, it kind of averages out over the course of a tournament. I think there's just more to worry about in ETC, more to go on in your mind, and you can't get tabled. So I think ETC is harder, but I like ITC better, and it sounds like recent those guys are just going through another round of updates after LVO. There's a survey going out right now asking people what they like and don't like about the ITC missions. So do get your feedback in for that if you want to have some feedback into changing those missions. So right now all our tournaments are ETC because the ETC players are going to them to practice. So and we kind of favor it a little bit more up here for our tournaments, but Capital City, we haven't decided yet which way Capital City will swing, but guess it kind of depends on what the ITC missions look like at the time. Do we know what missions Hammer and Anvil's running? Yes, that reminds me, I need to put that pack together, but it's going to be something straight out of chapter approved, so nothing too fancy, because just a fun tournament. So it'll probably be chapter approved missions, probably Eternal War, just so that people don't have to bring cards. But thank you for reminding me to do that pack. Yeah, and of course that's just 1,500 points, single battalion, no Lords of War, no Forge World, just straightforward. Bring some fluffy lists. So yeah. Those new moon quests look sick. Deep dive into AOS the way after team tournament. Strazius, do you know if the PnP tournament will be using some of the new chapter approved missions? No, PnP will probably be ETC missions or ITC. We don't really play rulebook in our serious tournaments. So the question at the end of the ITC survey today was whether or not people want us to take elements from chapter approved, not we, I mean Frontline, into the ITC mission. So for example, the whole army deploy thing versus the swapping deployment, some of those changes that they instituted in chapter approved. So we'll see what happens to the ITC missions, but for now we're probably playing ETC. I think there's a vote happening in the next week or so, ETC captains, about what the missions. I've seen draft missions already. I can't talk about them online, but so I think it's probably going to be ETC missions. Okay, cool. Or people bringing fluff. If you mean the Hammer and Anvil, I hope people are bringing not too hardcore, but you can of course bring whatever you want that fits in those guidelines. So yeah, who knows. From the sign-up list, and this is not to offend anybody, the usual hardcore kind of I go there to win PnT people are not coming. So if that's any indication, I don't know. But yeah, and I'm currently not playing unless we have drops or whatever. Naughty Dell, yeah, I'm out in California. Like ETC feels more, definitely play more ITC out west coast for sure, especially around Frontline Gaming territory, California. But 3:47 here to head out. All right, good night, Naughty Devil. Thank you for tuning in. For sure, West Coast plays a lot of ITC. East Coast plays more mixed stuff, maybe some mix of Nova format, ITC, and their own homebrew sort of stuff. Of course, ITC's from West Coast, from San Diego, so that's kind of to be expected. ITC is getting more popular in Canada. Certainly, a lot of the big events run ITC, and over in Europe, of course, they tend to play more ETC, but ITC is starting to creep up. And in Australia, I think they play mostly ITC. I don't know. I have to ask Denise, our Australian expert. Okay. So we'll wrap up. I want to wish everybody for thank everybody for tuning in. Have a good new year. Do accomplish your hobby and gaming goals. Any upcoming guests showing up on the show? Oh, there's always upcoming guests. We actually don't usually arrange it that far in advance, so we usually let people know. So before you leave, I want to point out Friday 9 p.m. Eastern, all the way until Sunday 9 p.m. Eastern, will be the Charity Hammer event run by Colin and Mitch at Best in Faction Podcast in association with Knights Pro and Nick Donavati. They're running 2 simultaneous streams for 48 hours continuously for charity. And I was invited to go, but I can't go out to the West Coast for this. But CanHammer will be streaming the second stream number 2, all weekend right here on CanHammer TV. So you'll be able to watch that for 48 hours if you want, all weekend here on CanHammer TV. And of course, the Best in Faction Twitch will be streaming stream number 1, and that's at twitch.tv/BIFPod, BIFPOD, Best in Faction Podcast. So they'll be hosting stream 1, and CanHammer will be hosting stream 2, and that will be live all weekend from 9 p.m. all the way to Sunday at 9 p.m. There's going to be a mix of competitive games between some of these top players. They've got some big names there, and Jim, a couple of Canadians going down. There's going to be some more casual games. There's going to be some beer hammer. There's going to be some kind of seminar sessions. There's going to be some training games, how you learn from your games, what you should do when you're learning. There's going to be some strategic talk. There's going to be lots of stuff going on both streams. So if you are free this weekend and have nothing else to do, or just put it on the background while you're hobbying, charityhammer.com for all the details. But BIFPod, Twitch, and CanHammer TV will be hosting both the streams all weekend. So look forward to that. You will see reminders about that on Facebook as well. And so that's great. Strazius, thank you very much for subscribing. Much appreciated. Thank you. ITC is getting its own tournament series in Europe this year. Good. Awesome. ITC is spreading because the missions are getting better. And they're always making them better. So it's going to be good. Strazius, I got 2 screens set up to watch it all. That's pretty good. I got 2 screens right here too, but I won't have time to watch it, unfortunately. It will be captured and then posted up on the special YouTube, which will be a nominal fee, I think, to access. Colin was telling me. But of course, it's for charity, so they want to raise some money for charity. So they don't want people to just have it for free afterwards. But it is free to watch here on CanHammer TV. So if you have the time to tune in, then do check that out. Otherwise, we'll be seeing you next week. Let me check my calendar just to make sure I have that right. Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday night game, Orcs versus either Custodes or Drukhari, to be decided, but that's Tuesday night, 9 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. And then we'll probably podcast on either Wednesday or Thursday next week. So that's what's coming up next week. And then the week after that will be AOS grudge match between Francois and Phil with the New Grots versus Great Unclean Ones. That should be a good game. And so that'll be here as well, live stream. Tournament report from the Sudbury tournament will be that week as well. I try and get those out the week after we go. So that should be fun. Lots of things to watch. And so thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Much appreciated. Big shout out to all our sponsors. And we'll see you next time.